Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and the new era is among us. Jesse Marsch has just completed his first proper press conference for Leeds United, and listen, it was a great press conference. He's saying all the right things, ticking all the right boxes. We have, of course, Leicester City on Saturday, early kickoff. It'll be his first match as Leeds United's head coach, and one that I'm really looking forward to. We don't know what to expect, and it'll give us a good idea and a good barometer of what the rest of these 12 games will look like. But he did allude in his press conference to a few tactical tweaks, some updates on injuries, loads to go through. So plenty to get our teeth into. Before we do get into it, as always, please do smash a like on my video. The more likes we get, the more views we get, more subs. Just while I'm on subscribers as well, we are so close to 9K. I want to get to 10K before the end of the season. You guys can make that happen. Please, if you are new, please subscribe to the channel. Get all your comments in and, of course, hit the notification bell. And we'll be doing a watch-along for this game on Saturday morning. But let's start with that press conference that's just happened with the new coach, Jesse Marsch. He said the group is remarkable. He said a lot about the group. I touched on this before about his preferred formation, the 4-2-2-2-2, and how the players are more apt and more suited to it than, say, Ralph Rangnick at Manchester United, for example, and that's why it's not really worked there. But Leeds United are already well-versed in what's expected of them from a Jesse Marsch, because him and Bielsa, their methods are not too different. He did say just on Marcelo Bielsa, he did say, look, I didn't want Marcelo to go out like this. I wanted him to continue his legacy, keep the team up. He even was going to make the argument with Victor Orta that let him see out the end of the season. But he said he could see that the team was suffering. And I think that's one of the main things that we've touched on, is that a new voice can have a massive, massive impact. I think he talked about dialing down, situations. Normally when a manager would go into, training or a new team, you're thinking about, right, let's increase the intensity. I need to get more out of them. Leeds United, they're already at that level. In terms of running stats where they need to be. It's perfect for Jesse Marsch to come in, really. It's an almost perfect scenario. If anything, he's just going to put smiles back on their faces. And I'm not saying they were unhappy under Bielsa, but obviously, if you continue to do something over and over and you're not getting the required results, then even subconsciously, you start to question it. So Jesse Marsch coming in may just give them that much-needed boost. It might not work. Fingers crossed it does, because Leeds United need to maintain their Premier League status. He touched on injuries as well, which I found quite interesting, because we heard from Bielsa in the not too distant past that these players were pretty far away, or were definitely not going to be due for the Villa. However, it looks like that's incorrect. And, he did speak on how, KP and Cooper were going to be very fit, soon. He even spoke about Bamford training, who we've seen videos. Bamford was out there training today. He's very close. He did say Llorente is touch and go for the weekend, but he mentioned Bamford and Llorente in the same conversation as though they're being touch and go for the weekend. So in my head, I'm thinking, wow, does that mean we could have Bamford back for Villa? Does that mean by Villa on Thursday, we could be looking at a team that will consist of Cooper, KP and Bamford? That got me really, really excited. I can't lie. He spoke about the leaders within the group, Ayling, Cooper, Forshaw. He said Dallas is the hardest working young man he has ever come across, which that doesn't surprise any of us, to be fair. I did have question marks on whether Dallas would work in this setup, but just hearing what he said, then he's obviously clearly a fan of him. One of the interesting things he said as well is that he wants Calvin Phillips to take a bigger role within the squad. And I'd like that too. I think a lot of us just automatically expect Leeds United's captaincy to make its way over to him. But maybe, we know he's an unassuming guy, but it looks like one of the things Jesse's going to do is try and empower him because he's a leader on the pitch. He's probably saying, look, I need you to lead this team. You're a Leeds lad. This is your team, and we need to see that from Calvin, to be fair. We see it on the pitch. Let's see it in and around the place as well. He spoke about not overloading them. He's not going to reinvent the wheel. That's what I mean. There's only going to be minor tactical tweaks. I think, look, the way he's looking at it, we've got 12 games. Give me Premier League status. After that, we're then going to revamp it. We're then going to look at honing down on my specific methods. We'll look at bringing in the correct personnel, Brendan Aronson, etc. He spoke about channeling the effort that they do have in the right way. And in the right way, in a Jesse Marsch system, is hunting impacts, he's pressing impacts. None of this man marking anymore. He said, look, one of the tactical tweaks you're going to see, we're going to move from man marking. It's very much a ball-orientated press, zonal marking, we're going to be not very much relying on wide areas. When it does go into wide areas, we're going to look to play it centrally, funnel the play centrally, and looking for, even if the ball is a poor ball for Leicester, for us to counter press them, win that back off them and score within 10 seconds, it's all going to be maintained within that central area. A lot less focus on the man marking system. In terms of the pressing, it's going to be very much counter press, a ball oriented press. They're going to be hunting impacts, which for me helps massively, because I was listening to the All Stats Aren't We guys the other day, and they were speaking of how Rodrigo's pressing from a man marking standpoint wasn't the best, and it's so much easier, in my opinion, to press as a unit as opposed to on your own. If you're told, right, that's your man, you must press him, go for him. No one else is aiding you in that. Now, if we're funneling Leicester or any team we come up against in central areas, there is a number of players within a small space on the pitch to cause problems and to really create that press. He even spoke about having focus on set pieces. My God, we need it. That's one of the areas we've needed it for a long time under Bielsa. We were so susceptible from set pieces. So I'd imagine, he's coming in and say, right, okay, if we lose this ball, we don't have a man-marking system to worry about, so we're not going to be as open, And also, if we're going to concede set pieces, we don't want to be conceding from them every time, because it was getting to points, at Leeds United there where corners were almost as good as a penalty. And he said about creating situations so that when we do lose the ball, we aren't so open in transition, okay? So again, losing it in central areas, that will allow us to control it that little bit more. Of course, there are times where they might switch the play over the top, in behind, because we will play with a high line, but it won't be nowhere near as gung-ho as it was under Bielsa, And I'm not, again, I feel like I have to caveat this. I loved everything that happened under Bielsa. But obviously, we have to now look to the future, and these are the tactical tweaks that Jesse Marsch will make. Now, of course, we need to make them, because as we know, we have no win now in 6 matches. We've drawn 1 and lost 5, okay? Draw coming against Villa. We've conceded 2+ goals in each of our last 6 away games, okay? Winning only 1 of them, that was against West Ham. And we've now conceded more goals than any other Premier League team this season. Yeah, and that was after the thumping at the hands of Spurs at the weekend when we lost, 4-0. So we need to make them changes. It goes without saying. Bit of a hot stat for you. Jinxie Joe's back, but Jesse Marsch has lost none of his last 3 first away games in charge of a new side, winning 2 and drawing 1. So if history tells us anything, Jesse Marsch's debut away games, he doesn't lose. So come on, Leeds. Even I'm smiling, man. I think even I'm smiling just seeing Jesse Marsch and this new face and figure, and as disappointing it was with Bielsa, but I was not looking forward to games. I'm really looking forward to this game on Saturday. I really, really am. Of course, Leicester City, look, they ended a 5-game winless run in the league in 2022. Are we in? Yeah, 2022. So that's a positive thing for us, I believe, because as I say, had they have come into this Leeds game and not, won a game, you could write it straight away and said, you know what? We're getting beat. You know what I mean? But yet, of course, they came from that winless run, beating Burnley 2-0, which was massive for us on Tuesday night. And they'll be looking to end the season strongly now. They did lose this fixture last season as well, so they'll be keen to make amends. Of course, Vardy came back and got a goal and an assist against Burnley, and his return to fitness is a massive boost for them. He'll probably start. He probably will start, and he has scored and assisted against Leeds in 2 prior Premier League head-to-heads. In terms of their lineup, I spoke to Locks. Locks tells me it will be a 4-2-3-1. Kasper Schmeichel in goal. Mark Albrighton at right back. Amati and Soyuncu at centre back, which can be got at 100%. especially if we're looking to counter-press them. We can get joy from them two centre-backs, goes without saying. Thomas at left-back, a midfield two sitting, a double pivot of Tielemans and Ndidi. Maddison, Dewsbury Hall and Barnes, the three behind Jamie Vardy. So going forward, I'm worried. Tielemans and Ndidi, so good, but have been massively out of form, as have Leicester. So I'm not as concerned as I would have been in previous games. And the back line for me can get at it all day. We can get at it all day. And I just hope that Leeds are going to be competitive, because we have conceded an average of 2.6 goals before halftime across our last 5 league matches. Yeah. We were getting beat in the first half. I said this the other day, you know, I'm sick of Leeds United turning up, being present and being a handful for, 10, 15 minutes, not getting in front and then conceding a sucker punch and absolutely going to bits and getting beat within that first half and conceding 2.6 goals in the first half of the last 5 games. That's really, really poor. Okay. It is really, really poor. So as long as we're competitive in this game, of course we need points, and I'd take a point now, and I think we will get a point at least. I do. I don't think we lose the game. I think we do have a new manager bounce. I think we do get something from this. I think it does spring a surprise on Leicester. I think he will go with his favoured 4-2-2-2-2. That may, turn up in many different guises during the game. It could be a 4-4-2, it could be a 4-4-2 diamond. But in terms of what I believe his lineup will look like, I think it will be Meslier in goal, Luke Ayling at right back, a centre-back partnership of Robin Koch and Pascal Struijk. I think we'll see Robin Koch being played in his preferred position. I think Junior Firpo will play left back. Adam Forshaw in midfield. I think probably I would say it'll be between Dallas and Click. Just hearing what I've heard from Jesse in his press conference, I am going to opt for Dallas. The wingers, although they won't be your regular type of wingers, they'll be very, very narrow in this formation. I believe it'll be Rafinha and Dan James. And then the front two, I believe will be Rodrigo and Joe Gelhardt. I think we see Joe. I think he releases him straight away. Get out there. Show these what you can do. We know what he can do, but, there's been such a clamouring for him. I think he'll have been even mentioned that by the Auto and Co, that we have this kid and he's not being used and he probably could add something. And, I think Jesse will let him off the leash. I do think he'll let him off the leash. And look, I'm really excited for the game, for the tie. And I think we can get a positive result. I do. I think we win the game. We're going to win the game 2-1. Oh, Jesse Marsch, wingman. Honestly, I'm just really excited. His press conference excited me since he's come in. He's excited me. I'm gutted about Marcelo. But ultimately, we have to move. We have to move and protect our Premier League status. And, only time will tell if it's the right decision. But he's saying all the right things. So I think we will get a positive result at the weekend. And then we can really look to move, And relegation might just be in the distant rear view. In the rear view. If it goes wrong, like I said, then okay. But he's saying all the right things. I'm an emotional guy. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I do get very passionate, and he's saying all the right things that invoke that passion in me to think, no, we've got this, man. We've got this. And if we were to beat Leicester, we've then got Villa, we've got Norwich. We could really start to put daylight. And he's only just walked through the door. Now, if we do lose the game, that's okay as well. We've got 2 home ties coming up. Of course, we need points on the board, points win prizes, but it's all about the performance. As long as Leeds United don't get put to the sword in the first half and we're competitive for the full 90 minutes, which we haven't been, then we'll be okay, But I do think we win the game, and I'm going to go for 2-1. Get in there, marching on together and all that jazz. But thank you as always for watching. I hope you're as buzzing for the game as I am. Make sure you join us for the Premier League preview a little bit later on. Smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and I'll see you all in a bit. Yeah, I said y'all. Peace out now. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.